"Okay, little friend," he said under his breath. "I'm paying attention now." The path became narrower as it approached a thick forest. Daniel wavered. People from the area stayed away from the spot once darkness fell. Still, the puppy rushed between the tree trunks, barking loudly. Daniel swore quietly and went after it. The small dog would race forward, halt, bark, and pause until he reached it. Each moment seemed to stretch longer as uncertainty nagged at his mind. Nevertheless, whenever he thought about returning, the puppy's piercing cry drew him further. Suddenly, a new sound emerged from up ahead. As his work shift came to a close, Officer Daniel straightened his patrol hat. The day had been quiet, no incidents or urgent situations to handle. However, just as he headed back to his vehicle, a subtle shuffling noise caught his attention. A small puppy emerged from the dirt path, its oversized droopy ears framing a face with eyes that sparkled like dark pools. "Well, hello there," Daniel said softly. The tiny dog walked directly up to him, let out a small cry, then turned and moved away while repeatedly glancing backward as though waiting for him to come along. Daniel smiled at the sight. "Are you attempting to guide me somewhere?" The small dog barked forcefully and moved forward once more, turning its head with a sense of urgency. Daniel proceeded with caution. The puppy halted, fixed its gaze on him, then dashed forward. Its movements weren't random, it had a clear purpose. Daniel's gut told him something was amiss. The little dog barked persistently, running in small circles whenever Daniel showed hesitation. A gentle, fractured whimper, lower in pitch, more fragile, laden with suffering. The puppy ran toward the source. Daniel increased his pace, scanning the area with his flashlight across the fallen timber. Something moved within the darkness. His breathing stopped momentarily. Hidden under the undergrowth was the skeletal form of a German shepherd. Her coat was tangled, with bare spots showing, her frame alarmingly gaunt. She moved feebly, each labored breath creating a rattling sound through her exposed ribs. The puppy rushed to her side, pushing against her snout, frantically licking her face. This was a frantic youngster begging for help to rescue its parent. Daniel carefully removed the branches that held her down. She jerked back slightly, but her gaze remained locked on his, the look of a mother nearly giving up. "Everything will be fine, girl. You've lasted this long. I'm here for you now." He contacted dispatch via radio. Expected time of arrival, 2 hours. His jaw tightened. She wouldn't survive 2 hours. Daniel pressed against the heaviest branch, straining with all his strength. The timber creaked, then moved, releasing her chest area. He slipped his arms under her fragile form. "I'm carrying you out, both of you." The woods felt infinite. Each movement was more difficult than the previous one. Branches caught on his uniform, thorns cut his arms, but Daniel paid no attention to the pain. The puppy ran in front, pushing him to move quicker. "Keep fighting," he murmured. "I'm not abandoning you." His boots lost traction on wet moss. He nearly toppled but held on tighter, dropping to one knee. She made a weak sound, still struggling to survive. With a raw noise, part groan, part plea, he rose back to his feet. The woods gave way to an open space. In his grasp, her respiration became slower. He went down on one knee, placing her carefully on the grass. The small dog clawed desperately at her snout. Daniel's chest constricted. Had he arrived too late? "Absolutely not," he said firmly, rejecting the thought. Faint, irregular breaths. Barely there, but present, he lifted her once more and locked his gaze on his patrol vehicle in the distance. Every movement was a struggle, but he wouldn't surrender. Daniel emerged from the tree line and pulled open his car door quickly, carefully placing her on the seat. The small dog jumped in behind her. He got into the driver's position, activated the siren, and the patrol vehicle sped away. Every moment was critical. Urban lights twinkled far off. The veterinary clinic's illuminated sign emerged like a guiding light. Daniel turned sharply into the parking area, tires squealing. Before the vehicle came to a complete stop, he had exited, lifting her into his arms. Medical personnel rushed out. "Emergency situation," Daniel announced urgently. Her breathing is compromised. In moments, multiple hands transferred her onto a stretcher. The reception area felt oppressively quiet. Daniel collapsed into a plastic seat, the puppy lying at his feet, shaking. Time passed agonizingly slowly. He stroked the small dog's coat, murmuring, "She has strength. She's going to make it." The sound of footsteps resonated through the corridor. A person wearing a white coat appeared, his face giving nothing away. Daniel's pulse pounded painfully. "Give me the news," he pleaded, his voice breaking. The veterinarian's look became gentler. "Her condition is severe. However, your timing was perfect." A wave of relief washed over Daniel so intensely he nearly collapsed. He bent down, lifting the small dog into his grasp. "You accomplished it, tiny hero. You rescued her." Time passed with quiet check-ins. Every morning and night, Daniel came back to the recovery ward. The puppy remained constantly by her side. Initially, improvement was agonizingly gradual, but slowly and surely, she began to respond. By week's end, her eyes showed more life. She shifted her paws more frequently and even succeeded in partially sitting upright. One night, Daniel walked in to discover her standing shakily, the puppy jumping around her feet. He stood motionless, overcome with feeling. Then he lowered himself and spread his arms wide. The mother limped forward, resting her head against his torso while the puppy barked joyfully. Daniel embraced them both, his throat constricted with feeling. They were transforming into a family unit. After 2 weeks, Daniel experienced a stirring within himself. He was unable to release them. When the veterinarian inquired whether he wanted to start the adoption process, Daniel responded immediately. Absolutely. The moment arrived when he walked them out of the clinic. The mother moved carefully but with dignity alongside him, her offspring bouncing in front. "Time to head home," he said quietly on the initial night in his house. Daniel settled on his sofa, the shepherd lying by his feet. Recollections of that night among the trees flooded back. His hands trembled as moisture gathered in his eyes. He leaned forward, placing a hand on the shepherd's head. She pushed her snout into his hand. "You rescued me as well." The small dog climbed into his lap, its tongue touching his face. Daniel chuckled despite his tears. The little puppy hadn't merely saved its parent. It had saved him too. "We're united in this now," he said softly. The following days brought a fresh pattern to his life. Morning shifts were now succeeded by energetic barking. The void that had filled his house had been substituted with comfort. People in the neighborhood observed the transformation. The officer who once walked by himself now traveled with 2 faithful companions. One night, sitting on his front porch observing the setting sun, the puppy nestled in his lap. He said softly, "At times the tiniest please guide us toward the greatest wonders." What started as an urgent pursuit through the forest had transformed into an experience that healed souls. Daniel had ventured into the darkness as an exhausted officer, but he returned with a family permanently transformed.